When you're looking into getting a snowboard, it may seem overwhelming with so many different models and options available. But understanding the different snowboard shapes or camber profiles will help you narrow down the right board for you. So in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down the different camber profiles while explaining which one will best suit the riding style you're looking to get into. Throughout this whole season, we'll be posting a video every Wednesday and Friday on this channel, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any videos and you can help us grow this little shred community. Now, before we get into the different profiles of a snowboard, it is important to understand the contact points of a board. And these are the spots on your snowboard that make the primary contact with the snow. And these will change depending on the profile, which will effectively change the ride of the snowboard. So the first shape we're gonna look at is the rocker profile. And this is basically the same shape that you'll see at the base of a rocking chair that allows the chair to rock back and forth easily. In a rocker profile, the outer contact points are lifted above the snow, which makes for a super easygoing ride. This shape is ideal for day one beginner snowboarders because of the fact that the contact points are lifted above the snow. It's much harder to catch an edge, which makes it easier to learn on. You'll also see the rocker profile in a lot of kids' boards because it allows them to swivel around and get the feel of snowboarding without the danger of catching an edge. And while this makes it much easier to learn how to snowboard, it doesn't allow for much progression through snowboarding. Because this shape allows you to swivel around, it doesn't allow you to really learn how to carve your snowboard. And so if you're looking to really progress your skills, there's much better shapes to do that. Additionally, with a rocker profile board, you'll find that the flexes are much softer. A softer flexing board also allows for more maneuverability because you're able to control that board a lot better. Because you can only really get so much out of a rocker board, I personally only recommend it for little kids that are first getting out on the hill. And if you are an early beginner, there are shapes that we'll talk about later in this video that I think are much better suited for you. Next up, we're gonna look at the regular camber profile. And this is gonna be on the complete opposite end of the spectrum from the rocker profile shape. Because regular camber is the downward curvature of the board, you're gonna have all four contact points touching the snow. And this is gonna make for a much more aggressive ride. Because of this, it is much easier to catch an edge than on a rocker profile board, but it allows for much more power out of your snowboarding. Because regular camber is shaped in the opposite direction that a board naturally wants to flex, when you do go to flex this board, it's going to snap back and rebound with a lot of energy. This makes a regular camber board the snappiest and most powerful profile that you'll see in any snowboard. And this is in terms of ollie power or carving. If you're looking for a board that wants to carve really hard, a regular camber board is gonna be the best option for you. And that's because when you initiate that carve, you're pushing against the camber. So when you come out of the carve, it pops out of the camber, snapping you into the next turn. With this, you'll see a lot of regular camber boards that are park specific or all mountain rippers. And this is gonna be more aimed toward the higher level and advanced level riders because this is the most aggressive profile shape. But that doesn't mean a beginner can't ride a regular camber board. And in fact, if you do, you're much more likely to progress further through your skills because you're learning how to use a board that wants to carve the hardest, pop the hardest, and ride the hardest. There are also boards that have less of a degree of camber, like the Capita DOA, that makes it the perfect regular camber board for a beginner to learn on. Next up, we're gonna look at the hybrid camber profile. And this is gonna be the combination of the first two we talked about, rocker and camber together in the same board. And basically with a hybrid shape, you're gonna have a rocker zone in the middle of the board and then camber zone underneath both of the feet. And what this is gonna give you is a best of both worlds scenario. With the ease of the rocker and the stability of the camber, you're gonna have a board that is not too aggressive, but a board that is not too lacking in support and response. And the biggest thing that can be confusing about hybrid camber is that almost every company calls their hybrid shape a different name. LibTech calls it C2, Burton calls it Flying V, Nitro has Gullwing, and Never Summer has like 5 different names for a hybrid profile board. But the easiest way to tell that the board you're looking at is a hybrid profile is just looking on the back of the board at the spec sheet, and you can see the shape of the profile. It has a little bit of rocker in the middle, camber underfoot, you're looking at a hybrid board. Another thing that might be confusing is that certain models come in different options for camber profile. The best example you'll see of this is the Burton Custom, which comes in the normal Burton Custom and the Burton Custom Flying V. That just means there's a regular camber custom and a hybrid shape custom. Now with this shape, you're gonna have a more mellow and surfier feel than a regular camber board. And this is typically what most people put beginners on. With the camber underfoot, you just get a little more stability than in a full rocker board, so it makes it more ideal to progress a little further than in a straight rocker board. This is also where preference comes into play a little bit. Some people know they love hybrid shapes, and even some of the best snowboarders in the world ride it, like Travis Rice. But some people know they love the stability and response of a regular camber board. Okay, so those are the three main profiles that you'll see: rocker, camber, and hybrid. And if you've already learned something in this video, let me know by slapping that like button. Next up, we're gonna look at a flat camber profile. And this is exactly what it sounds like: a completely flat shape where the whole board is touching the snow. And the name of the game with a flat profile is stability and maneuverability. The board does what you want, when you want, and you're not gonna get hung up out of nowhere. Because of this is also a great shape for a beginner snowboarder. It's not as aggressive as regular camber, but you could argue it's as stable as a hybrid shape. A few boards that I've ridden that have been super fun with a flat profile are the Ride War Pig and the Jones Mind Expander. And although this is a stable shape, you're just not gonna get the response that you get out of a regular camber board, which is gonna give you a lot more energy back out of your ride. And lastly, let's check out a Setback Camber profile. And what this is a predominantly regular camber shape with a rocker nose. You're typically gonna see this shape in a lot of directional, all-mountain freeride boards. Because you have that stability of the camber in the rear of the board and the rocker nose, you're gonna get the floatability in the nose for the powder, but also that stability for the snap and pop with the regular camber. And you can kind of think of this as the directional version of a regular camber profile. With the rocker in the nose, you have a set front of the board, so you're gonna wanna be riding forward a little more than you would be riding switch. That doesn't mean you can't ride switch on this board, but it will ride a lot better in one direction than it will the other. With a lot of brands in the market starting to make more directional shapes, this is gonna be one of the most popular profiles you'll see out of boards. And because the majority of this shape is regular camber, you're gonna see all the same properties as we mentioned when we were talking about a regular camber tip to tail board. Aggressive, snappy, and powerful. With each shape, you're gonna get a different ride depending on the camber profile. And I'd love to know what your favorite camber profile is, or which profile you're gonna get in your next board. So let me know in the comments below. Aside from camber profiles, there are a lot more details that change the way a snowboard rides. And that's why I made this video to help you find the perfect board for you. So go watch that next, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.